me an email like a week or two ago, right? It was like you can now go live with another person, right? So I was like, I don't even know who to go live with other than my peoples. So I was like, this is the day to do it.
So does it tell you how many people are on here?
Yeah, right now it's one right now. But this is not a live. It says go live together. So you have to hit that go live together button.
So are we on YouTube Live like it would be IG?
Yeah, we're on YouTube live right now, brother.
I feel honored, bro. I feel honored you asked me to be the first to do this with you.
No doubt, man. It's an honor, man, brother. So what's going on, Roundup homie? This is your boy Hasco. Happy Sunday to you. We're hanging out with one of my mentors, my friend Dan Borrero. What's up, homie?
I just got to correct Mr. Haskins here. I'm not his mentor. He's my mentor. Um, because I didn't know squat about anything really to do with uh, social media. And what's going on, little man? Until Chris actually introduced me to this whole entire platform. So by all means, Chris, the honor is mine, bro. Being here with you.
So we were earlier, y'all. If you got any questions, we don't do this often on here. We are usually on Dan's channel, but if you have any, we got 20 people on here now. If you got any questions, what's going on, APL, Ally? Can you see the comments, Dan?
I can actually.
This is
Um,
cool, man.
this is super cool, and you got 18 people on here already.
Yeah, if you got any questions, y'all, any comments you want to
Can
talk
they
about,
follow us on my channel and your channel? Can they follow us back?
these people, yeah, just hit the follow, hit the subscribe button right there on the channel, y'all.
So follow us both.
Yep,
This
make
is
sure you hit a
interesting.
follow. This is new. It's a new service they got.
Yo, guys, maybe we start doing this every Sunday.
Maybe, maybe we could do both of them. 30 minutes and 30 minutes.
There you go. So, for those of you that are on here, show us both some follows. That's all we ask in return. If you're not following us both, I think it's a violation, to be honest with you, because the reality is, um, we're putting out gems. What we were talking earlier on IG on the application process, how we vet our tenants, how we figure out if they're lying to us. We're here to share our knowledge with you guys all. So by all means, show us, give us your questions so that we could actually, it'll give us topics to talk about, to say the least. What's the topic? So give us the topic. Someone's asking. We weren't planning on doing this. This is all like tests for us guys, right? Chris,
Yeah.
tell them how this came about.
Well, I do this every Sunday with Dan, but I'm on IG, so I just asked Dan to come on here with me. However, I've been wanting to bring Dan on and just talk about real estate in general because I've only seen one cycle in my career. And I mean, I feel like I'm like an OG now, right? But Dan has seen, how many cycles have you seen, Dan?
A dozen, at least a dozen. I've been
Oh,
doing it since '89.
Dan been, I'm talking about real estate ups and downs. It's been 12 cycles?
At least I would dare to say, I'll tell you why. A lot of them weren't big cycles. In other words, they were small dips or small corrections or level offs. You know, everyone keeps only talking about, the 2008 fiasco. But the reality is, before 2008, there was one in the early '80s. Actually, just when I graduated, there were no jobs out there. It was towards the end of Reagan's administration. And I'm really dating my age right now by even talking about Reagan's administration.
That's
Um, so, but the funny part is, Chris, that I've made the most money I've ever made has always been through a recession
why is that, Dan, you think?
because I had been prepared. Because when times were good, I was saving. I was like a squirrel and like a chipmunk, working all summer. The chipmunks work all summer storing nuts, walnuts, and whatever the hiding place is, wherever they're going to hibernate for the winter. And that's what real entrepreneurs do. When business is really good, we store a lot of gunpowder, a lot of cash, so that when business is bad, we can take advantage of opportunities.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Dan. I have a philosophy I read in a book. I think it's called The Psychology of Money. It says the good times are nothing but an opportunity for you to prepare for the bad times, Dan. What would you say about that?
100%. 100%.
So a lot of people think that every overlap. I know personally, I know for shadow of a doubt, over the last 2 years, completely artificial real estate business, Dan. I know it.
Had no footing, no real foundation. Money was cheap, but that was going to come to an end when you had the Federal Reserves printing out over 60% of all the money ever collected in the over
Printing.
60% of all the money ever printed in the history of the United States of America in 1 year.
Man,
That's a problem.
scary stuff, man. I just want everybody to understand that this is where the real deal comes right now.
Listen,
Now,
you know what's funny, Chris? Tell me if this has happened to you. I remember in 2010,
Whoopi Goldberg,
I was buying 5/8 sheetrock and having it delivered with a boom truck. You know what a boom truck is?
go through the
Where
window.
they'll boom it right up to the fourth floor, fifth floor, sixth floor for you, right in through the window
Yeah,
for less than $5 a sheet.
good God.
Meanwhile, 2 years earlier, 2.5 years earlier, it was $12 a sheet and another $600 for the boom truck.
Oh wow, it went down.
Yeah, because it was right after 2008.
Nobody's buying.
The lumber yards were empty. You walk into Home Depot, everything was empty, empty,
That's
right?
deep.
I was buying, a solid pine doors, 30-inch doors with the frame for
Wow.
$79, $89
Solid slab door.
with the frame
Wow.
for $80, right? Those same doors were like $200 2 years before. So when you are preparing, I wasn't really renovating or buying when everybody else was renovating and buying. I I saved my nuts, my money, my gunpowder, and then I start buying when the economy's horrible because labor's cheaper, materials cheaper, and the acquisition of the property's cheaper.
That's so crazy. You know what? I have a bunch of trees in my yard, man. And this is a little metaphysical, but I see these squirrels out there, man, and I'm like, these dudes are grinding all the. We can learn so much from these little. They all they do is grind and put stuff in the ground, and that's for later. That's what they do.
That's it. They're grinding it out, right? So we can learn from all these creatures around us. Um, the reality is, look, it's the Three Little Pig story, guys. We all heard the Three Little Pig story when we were younger. It was, the three little the older pig was building his house out of cement and cinder blocks and steel doors, and his two younger brothers had finished their houses out of wood and fig trees and things like that, right? And they were making fun of the older brother one day on their way going to the beach every day. And the big bad wolf comes down and blows down their houses, and they ended up going to the older brother's house, right? He was nice enough to let them in, but the wolf didn't get through because he took the time out and worked his ass off through the summer to make a house fundamentally and with a strong foundation. So it's the same thing with every aspect in our lives.
Deep stuff, man. We got some questions here, Dan, but I see if I can find them. How do you get to the
You got to swipe up.
swipe up?
Yeah, my brother's on here. What are your thoughts on
This
the gas stoves if that doesn't go through?
gas stove. What's that mean?
So I'm not sure if you mean. I know there's a push in a lot of municipalities, and supposedly maybe on the federal side, I don't know,
Sure.
to get rid of gas stoves. They want everything to go electric.
Why?
I'm assuming because of the Green Deal, that bill they passed
Right.
or want to pass, where it's fossil fuel. Look, the reality is gas burns more efficient. The reality is gas burns hotter, but gas is a serious pain in the ass safety wise. You got to have a chimney, which consumes space in your properties. It's got to be inspected. You need a plumber. Plumbers are a whole lot more expensive. But I don't know if I could ever get used to cooking on an electric stove, man. Like for anyone that's not used to it, that might be a little difficult.
Yeah, we don't have that. We're putting a new gas stove in our new house. We got electric here. Um,
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I just want to say I was first person on the first broadcast. You said you had one person was there.
he's crazy.
Yeah,
Tried to get him on it the other day. Tarkifax wants to know, what are your thoughts on overages? What is overages, Dan?
not sure what he means by that. Uh,
AL Sauce one. Oh, by the way, y'all, Dan has been doing this since 1989. Okay, this is the man that I keep on speed dial whenever I have a problem with any construction or tenants. It's the guy that knows. Okay, just want to let y'all know. What type of indicators are you looking for when searching for deals, Dan?
I'm looking for the most suppressed property in the nicest neighborhood, or a neighborhood that is showing potential to that's going to be on an upswing. I'm looking for property that the not one of the worst property in an area that's next to the sexy neighborhood, because eventually that sexiness is going to come over to that. So think of a think of a circle.
Okay.
Think of a circle, or think of a map of any state that has counties in it. If you're dead smack in between three counties that are growing, or four counties that are growing around you, it's a non-brainer. You should be buying in the county that's not growing, because eventually it's going to move in that direction,
It's impossible. It's inevitable.
right? Yeah. So I'm looking for areas where the government, the local government, is extremely proactive in bringing in new business, so that's going to increase the employment in the area, right? Because the more employment means people, bodies, right? Um,
You
those
talk.
bodies need places to live, right? If the hospitals are expanding, hospitals are in the business of fixing bodies. That means they're anticipating more people going to be living in the area. If the hospitals are anticipating more bodies, that increases the demand for housing.
That's
If
true.
Walmart is moving into the area, if they're building a distribution center or a superstore, nobody wants to build brick and mortar anymore. But if they're building it, it's because they're anticipating a big population growth. Those
Yeah,
guys don't get it wrong. They spend millions and millions of dollars figuring this out. So why am I going to reinvent the wheel? I'm going to open up in that area. I'm going
good
to
point,
start
bro.
buying in that area. These are the things that we look for.
Ally wants to know: are you currently flipping cosmetic or full rehabs right now?
Unfortunately, I haven't found anything I could do lipstick work to, and I really hate doing lipstick work, because that's when I sell that, my brand's attached to it. I'd rather do a full gut and a full rehab, because now I know it was done right, and my brand is attached to that property that was done right.
You'd be surprised, man. Your brand is big. We're doing full gut jobs, man. If I can find, I'm both. I'm both. We did one that only had to do a cosmetic, and we thought it was cosmetic. Ended up being 40,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd rather go into a property where I got to do a full gut, because I know what my numbers are. There's no what ifs.
Yeah,
When it's a full gut, you're ripping everything out and you're bringing everything from the bottom up. You know what those numbers are. It doesn't matter what you find when you rip out the walls, because it's a full gut. You assume that you're going to have to do a lot of rehabilitation, to say the least.
I think people need to just remember, Dan, that wherever you got any product with debt, wherever any product, you got to remember the only reason real estate works for guys like us, all and people on here, is because of the debt. People are gonna get in trouble. They won't be able to pay. They're gonna have to call you. Either it has debt or it doesn't have debt. The value is so high. The only way somebody can get into it if they get into debt, right? So we're out there buying and selling, and then we're going to either raise the value of the property so somebody can go get debt to buy it, or we're going to take somebody out of it that already has debt. So real estate will always be, in my opinion, is God's money. So it'll always be here.
There's My brother put us on the market rates have been increasing. However, the prices have been basically fat, or just a small decrease. What are your thoughts on purchasing investment properties sooner than later?
I'm always the guy that says buy real estate and wait, as opposed to wait to buy real estate, Dan. I mean, but it's based on the numbers, though. We always buy below market value. We always make sure it's either depressed, underperforming. It doesn't change. This stuff's so boring. I feel like we say it all the time.
Yeah, so guys, it doesn't matter to us if the rates go up to 18%,
That would
because
make
the reality is we're going to buy based on the numbers. If the numbers don't make sense, we ain't buying. If they make sense at 18%, and when the rates come down to 8% and we refinance, it's going to make even more sense, right? But
mm,
there's also times that we buy at asking price, because sometimes the asking price is way below market,
makes sense. If it
right?
makes
It
sense,
makes sense. The numbers have got to make sense. If the numbers don't make sense, you don't buy. Kris, listen to this, man. This is another thing that pisses me off. Yeah. The more I'm on social media, the angrier I get. I'm watching this video popped up,
freaking
and it's this mortgage person who sells mortgage, and it's like, oh, I got to tell you about the newest hack. This hack is awesome, blah 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 blah. And all these people are keeping it a secret, and I'm like, oh no, let me listen to this, because let me listen to this new hack, right? He's all excited about this new hack, and he comes out with this new hack, and he calls it DSCR. Do you know what that means?
debt service coverage ratio.
Debt service coverage ratio. And they came out basic with a new name for shit that existed hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And you know what that is? In my time, it's called no income verification check. So I'm like, so he says DSCR. I'm like, damn, what is this? Let me go check this out. Like, I'm like, this must be really good, right? And I'm like, and people actually believe this shit. So just to give you guys an understanding of it.
Hold up, hold up. Give us a thumbs up and a follow, man. If you're enjoying this, is how Dan. I talk to Dan off market, off offline like this all the time. So give a thumbs up because we're bringing you in. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, show us some follows.
Mm,
Uh, so essentially, guys, what happened was, guys, if you want to follow, if I don't know how, but this is my channel, USA Land Ventures. If you want to go there, if give us a follow. So essentially, no income verification, or what they call it now, DSCR, the newest hack, which is all bullshit. It's existed for over 100 years. Is if you don't want them to check your income, and many people are really make money but don't really show how they make their money, or show that they're always at a loss because they're trying to decrease their tax implications. Then you got to go with a no income check, which is what was called my time when I was doing it, versus now what they call a DSCR. And what they're saying is they're going to give you the loan based on your credit score, showing proof that you're a responsible, fiscally responsible person. One, two, on whether that property could actually cash flow enough to pay the loan.
oh my lord.
Right. So that's what's called a no income check. What they're not telling you is this: your closing costs are going to be about 8 to 12% higher, because they're going to hit you over the head with closing costs. What they're not telling you is that your interest rate's going to be anywhere between a half a point to 3/4 of a point higher, because the more risk that the bank takes, the more interest rate they're going to charge you. Now, I've done it, and I did it, and they were charging me 2.5 points higher when I did it. But I didn't have a choice. If I wanted to get into the game, I had to do it. But the numbers
Yeah,
still made sense, even though I was paying 2.5% more in
gotta get
interest rates. But there's nothing new in this business. So when Kris said he gets boring, it gets boring sometimes, because there's nothing new in the business. There's a whole lot of new acronyms that people that make up for this shit. But the reality is that it's still the same business. I'll give you another one, Kris. I remember somebody about 4 years ago asked me what I thought about the bird system. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And then she
Oh
went on
no, no,
to
no, no. Hold on. They probably said the new birth system.
right, exactly. She was all excited. This new hack, right? This new. So
And I love my computer.
I
I'm
was like,
listening.
so I don't know what that is, you know. So she explained it to me. I said, they got a name for that shit. I was doing that in 1989. I did that the first time I ever did it was in 1989, 1990. They actually got a name for that now. I was like, there's nothing new in this business, guys.
I feel like I'm a broken record, Dan. Dan, I would say about every, I don't know, 5 years, these guys come out online. We got this new house hack thing. Oh, we're doing house hacking now. Or now we know what they're doing. They're really getting this bull in my blood a little bit. Subject to guys are saying, oh, we're not doing subject to anymore. We're doing seller financing.
No, yeah, yeah. Creative seller financing.
I'm like, okay, let me understand what you're saying here. You're calling it seller financing, but you're still leaving the seller's loan in place, but you're just paying the loan. You're just gonna pay. You're gonna create a note, a wrap on top of it. To me, I don't think that's fair, man.
No.
I don't think that's fair. I think you need to be upfront. You're keeping this loan and I mean, I don't know, Dan. Because
Listen, guys.
with seller financing, you selling me the house still, but you're still the loan is still staying in your name.
Right, right.
Because
So
they
there's
still got a
really
loan.
nothing new to this. Be careful with these guys out here trying to peddle programs that are all based on hype. Um, and it's the same old stuff, which is not bad. Look, there's a reason why the most amount of made millionaires were done through real estate
Been around.
because it's proven over time to stay the course. There's
But
a
I think,
reason. There's a reason why most people still only do conventional rental because it's proven itself to work over the long term.
but Dan, but I think the new generation, they might need to have that new, fresh facilitating of language. Because guys like us, we have the language in our mind might be old. Maybe they do need to have a new definition of this stuff.
So you know it's funny, Bell. Damn, you calling guys like us old? That sucks.
Hey, man, that's the truth, brother.
It is the truth. So this is funny. At dinner tonight, we were talking about. I was watching the Giant game today, and I was watching the sports announcers. You know, during halftime, and I'm like, it's all these old guys, right? That were like big names when I was in high school, for instance, or college, right? Guys, I graduated from college in 1985.
Good Lord.
So, you know, I was telling my wife and my kids, it's time that they got people as announcers, sports announcers that are just retired in the last 10 years. And they were like, why? And I said, because today's players are not the players that were when in 1985.
If not as
In the
hard.
sense in the sense that today's players are their conditioning is better because of the technology that's advanced the conditioning. These guys are running, they're bigger, they're running faster. That's why there's so many more injuries because it's like two cars colliding, you
Mm.
know. Um they're smarter. They have a total different understanding of the game because of technology. They could see things that during film time, they're able to pinpoint. The coaches are able to show them things that they wouldn't have seen during my time as fast, right? So those are the players that need to be now the new sports announcers because they could relate to what's actually happening on the field at that moment, unlike the guys that it's been 30 years since they played, right?
That's true.
And in our case, I don't think that's the same, and I'll tell you why. Because there is no technology that could change the basics of this business.
They tried it. Those iBuyers, man, they tried it.
Right. Right. And explain to them what that would explain to the audience what that is.
Those iBuyers, y'all, they tried to have a computer go in and estimate what the best maximum allowable offer was going to be and put them out of business, man. I just don't know how a computer is going to, you know, they don't know that next door there's a strip joint or there's a crack house for 10 dollars. I mean, I just don't see how a computer, obviously, I believe in the future the computer could possibly do a drive-by, but if you're just basing it off of local sales, no way.
No, no. There's a
Oh,
question here for you, Chris. How do you find properties?
hold on, let's get to, is that new one or old? That's a new question.
That's a
Hold on. Let's
this
get to
new
that
one.
one. We'll get to that one with that. We gotta get Sean Sean or is that Sean Williams? Do you recommend hard money loans for a first time flipper, Dan?
Um, I don't recommend hard money at all.
Hold on, Dan. Why ain't saying that, man?
Hold on, hold on.
For a first time flipper?
I don't recommend hard money at all. However, I do understand why you need to do hard money. I've done hard money, and what angered me is that most of the time they walk away with as much or more money than I walked away with, and I took all the risk and did all the work.
Yeah, but you made money.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is it's unfortunate, but that's side of the business. That's like I look at it now, that's the cost of the education. Because the hard money lender is also going to help decide whether that property is actually doable. I mean, I remember I had a couple of hard money lenders turn me down for one property. I ended up not getting it. And now that with my experience that I have today, I'm glad they turned me down because they see things that you don't as a beginner.
Yep.
Now, if you're still going for hard money after your 10th, 11th, 12th deal, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You're misspending your money. Hard money's good if you need to start. You shouldn't need them after the fifth or sixth deal.
Then if yeah, I like Sean, I like hard money for newbies because they're gonna be your second eyes opinion and
Yes,
they're gonna make sure you don't hurt yourself. See the hard money lender, his main goal is for you to come back to him.
right.
Like obviously he wants to make money and all that too. That's a no brainer. But I got hard money friends. I've loaned hard money. I've been in the game. We want you to come back. We don't want you to do one deal. We crush you and take all the money, and then you never come back. I mean, that's so you got to. They're going to make sure you get in a good deal.
Yeah. There's a question from a Mr. Brown, if you don't mind. I'm going to take that. It says,
Go ahead.
Dan, you have multiple doors. I respect your grind. I know you make money off the cash flow of your rentals. Are there any other ways you leverage your portfolio to increase profits? I do. So, we're always looking to increase profits on our doors, at the same time increasing asset value. And one of those ways that we do that is multiple ways. We provide an exceptional service and an exceptional experience for our tenants. We take a lot of pride in making sure that our tenants live in a clean, safe environment. I don't deal sexy properties. I don't have A class properties. I have C plus properties, middle C properties, C plus, B minus properties. That's my sweet spot. That's where I feel comfortable. Those are the people I can relate to. Those people work really hard job, really long hours, and they work really hard. They don't have time to screw with me. But what they do want is when they come home that they could come home to a clean and safe environment. My hallways are immaculate. If it snows, the shoveling starts within an hour from its last snowflake. If they call me for a repair, it's done. If not that day, the following day, as long as they give me access. We provide people exceptional service, and we provide them an exceptional quality product to live in, right? So that's how I increase my value because my vacancy rate is very small. If they're not leaving, I don't have any vacancy rate. Furthermore, if there's a basement that has safe access to from inside the building, I'm going to put washers and dryers in there. I'm going to put storage cages, and that all increases profits as well. These are things that you could do to increase your profit margin. Now, I don't refinance my properties. My brother and I don't do that. What we do is we let's say I bought the property. I'm going to use simplistic numbers. I bought the property for 100,000. Let's say I'm all into the property for 70,000, but the property's worth 100 after I renovate it. Okay, simplistic numbers. I'm gonna go to but I only have 50,000 into the property, right? Let's say it's worth 100. I have 50 into it. I'm gonna go to the bank and say I want a loan. I want to cash out 50,000. The bank's gonna say, but it's worth 100. We'll give you 85%. We'll give you 85,000. I tell the bank, keep all I want is 50. That's the money I put in. Now I take that 50 and I go put it into another property. I recycle it again. Now that property that I just refinanced and I cashed out is I'm at 50% value, which means that probably one or two rents will pay for the mortgage and all the taxes and expenses, and the other two apartments will pay. That's my cash flow. If those two apartments don't pay, I'm still good. I'm not pulling money out of my pocket. I'm put because the rents are covering it because I only took 50%, which was how much money I had into it. So once that mortgage is paid for, we don't refinance. That's our cash flow from here to kingdom come.
Keep money in the system.
Keep it in the system.
That
We
comes with
become the
discipline.
bank.
That comes discipline, man. You gotta have discipline to keep money in the system, man.
Yeah, it is discipline. It's not easy to do, especially if you haven't been brought up like that. Hard money is the cost of education. Yes, it is. Good evening, family. I
Hold
do
on, Dan.
not.
Skip somebody, Dan. Darren. Steven got a question here. Can we get Steven Page? If my credit is not great, that's irrelevant to me. How can I refi to capture equity in my properties? What would you
You're
do?
gonna pay.
Hmm?
Your credit's not great. You're gonna pay. What I would tell you first is forget trying to refinance. How about going to fix your credit? Go to a credit repair service and get your credit fixed, and figure out what is it that you're doing in your life that's making your credit bad.
That's a good point right there.
Try to fix the underlying. Try to fix the cause of the problem instead of trying to figure out another angle around the problem.
Wow. I wasn't thinking about that, but I think you're right, man. I was gonna say, Steven, you got two different guys here, okay? Steven, I want to know why is your credit not good? But second, I don't know, Dan. I just don't think about credit. Like, so what I did was I just went to regular, ordinary people. I was like, I knew, Steven, if I were to pay off my mortgages from the traditional lenders, I knew that there was going to be human beings out there that would be happy to loan me money based on the equity in my properties. I knew it, right? And then, sure as the sun comes out tomorrow, I went to people, I showed them the equity I had. They were happy to loan me money based on my rental property. It was like, it's funny how the sun must come out 365 days a year. It has to happen, right? So it's like when you do certain things, I really believe that the universe must give you some things in return. It's almost like if you have a cheeseburger, you got somebody hungry, they're gonna give you money for the cheeseburger. So as the Dan says, find out why is your credit bad, and then let's go. Because I don't want you borrowing money from private lenders if you haven't shown that you can pay them back. Right? That's a good point, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is, unfortunately, some of us weren't taught what money is
Paying,
when
yeah,
we were younger, right?
or credit.
Or credit. And the reality is, look, I'm gonna just pull out. Let me see. I got a dollar bill here. See this dollar? Chris Haskins and I, we got a lot of these dollars. And these dollars are our soldiers. Chris is a general. I'm a general, right? And what we do is we send these dollars, these soldiers, out into the world. We send them out. And their responsibility is to come back. For every dollar, we want $10 captures. We want every dollar to capture $10. And when those dollars come back to us, we indoctrinate those 10 captured dollars and then send them back out into the world so that they come back with 10 more. So if we send out $10, we want them to come back with 100. Then we send out that 100 that captured dollars, we want them to come back with 1,000. We send out that 1,000 captured dollars, we want them to come back with 10,000. That's what, because we understand what a dollar is. A dollar is nothing. This has no emotion. no
Is it
ethic,
is a good
no
worker.
morality,
Good
no
worker,
brain,
bad boss.
nothing.
It's a dollar's a good worker, but a bad boss.
That's it. All this dollar does what we tell it to do. This dollar comes into the pockets that hustle the most, think outside the box the most, educate themselves the most. That's what the dollar does. So you got to understand how to deploy your dollars. That's what you got to do first to get rid of the bad credit.
Yeah.
Because when you understand that, everything else comes easy.
And in order for you to really get a good standing on that, you have to get the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. You
Oh
have
my God, awesome book, awesome book, guys,
to.
right here.
So
God,
that
and it's very inexpensive. Go to it's look how small this book is. This is like a day's read.
you gotta have that, man.
Right here, guys.
You got to have that book. That's gonna help you understand your money's children's children. Like this, Dan's saying the same thing. Like you want your dollar to go out the door in the morning and come home with some friends. It's just all mindset stuff.
So I look at it like I'm the general. They're going out to battle, and I train these dollars to go to battle.
Same. There you go. Same thing. They're the soldiers.
Yeah,
Dan,
they're
we
just
skipped over
soldiers.
one. How do you find properties? Sean, is that Shawnee Williams? I don't really know. Sean is SHUANE Shawnee. I find we use the internet. My motto is, if you can find a spouse online, you can find a house online.
That's so true, bro. I never looked at it that way. I may use that one, Chris.
You can find a spouse online. You can find a house online.
You could find a person you want to live with the rest of your life on a computer. Ain't no reason why you can't find a house.
You know what? My mentor used to tell me. I used to hate it when he said that back in like 2009. It was a long time ago. I was like, I didn't like it, but now I'm like, you are so right, yo.
What resources do you recommend that a new investor to find rental properties? I don't use what Chris uses. Chris is really into lead generation.
What is it? What resources? Oh, Jamal Farley. Would you use recommend for new investor to find rental property? Yeah, internet, man. We have an aggressive SEO campaign going, pay per click, social media. Just send us a direct message. You got to come to one of my trainings, my brother. Yeah, we're heavy online, man. We missed somebody, Dan. You missed 3 or 4 people. What in the world? Our entrepreneur. What clauses do you? Dan's the king of clauses.
What's the question? I didn't see it.
Al, what up, Al? I'm boy in Connecticut. What clauses do you include in your lease to hedge in a tough eviction state like New York? I'm in Mass, where eviction can be tough too. Dan,
Listen,
you can
guys,
answer
I
right now.
do a free mentorship class every Wednesday. We cover this subject matter. If you go to my IG address, or go to shop.usalandventures.com. David, if you're still on here, can you put that in? Shop.usalandventures.com.
Yeah, Dan is the king.
I have my sample lease addendum there. Chris, how tough is that lease?
I'm trying to think of something. You're not Santa Claus. You're like something Claus. You got like a 10-page lease addendum writer. It should be
Guys,
illegal what you do to people.
my lease rider is as a
What do you call
result
them,
of
man?
me getting schooled by tenants, professional tenants. Every time I got schooled, every time I had a problem, I get on the phone with my attorney. Say, this is my problem. How do I word it to make sure that this doesn't happen to me ever again? Okay. Now, strong lease doesn't mean you're not going to have a problem with a tenant. Strong lease, what it basically says is that it's going to give you the teeth you need to fight to win, and then it's going to give you the teeth as a result of that win for you to go get a judgment against that tenant. Okay. Now, in addition, before I signed the lease, I send that lease to the tenant at least 2 to 3 days
You've been
before.
here 40 minutes,
And
man.
I ask that if that tenant doesn't have at least 5 questions for me after reading that lease, I don't want that tenant
What's wrong with
because
you?
that means they didn't read the lease. Because if it were me, I'd have like 10 questions because my leases are strong. They're real
Uh,
strong. By the
I
way,
want
guys, you know what I'll do? If you guys buy that tonight at my website, just type in. I'm gonna have my guy do it right now. Type in Dan25 and you'll get 25% off of that lease purchase. It's listed at $69.
Thanks, Dan. Dan
Dan25 and you get
25.
25% off.
Fucking
My
monkey.
lease is tough. My lease is very tough, but it comes as a result of me getting schooled.
I want y'all to know that Dan would not rent to himself. Okay,
No,
just remember that.
look, I
He
don't rent to
the building.
family. I don't rent to friends. I don't rent to anyone that comes recommended from family or friends. Matter of
Hold on, let me
fact,
get this straight. I don't rent to family. I don't rent to friends, and I wouldn't rent to my damn self. Is that what
no,
you're saying?
that's right. Or anybody recommended from family and friends.
Hold on. You tell me I got a cousin Dan needs a place to live.
Don't call me.
I gotta listen, man. I got a friend. Her lease is up, man, and she just had a baby, and she needs to get another bedroom. She needs a bigger bedroom.
I'll be like, don't call me. Matter of fact, my friends, I found this out later on. One of my tenants, this happened about 7 years
My
ago.
face is hurting.
One of my friends, 7 years ago, I rent this apartment to this woman and her husband, and they were living there about 6 years before I realized that they were friends with a cousin of mine. And I asked them, "Well, why did you tell me that you were friends with my cousin?" And she said, "Well, they told me if I told you I was friends with somebody from your family, you wouldn't rent to me." And I said, "You're right, I wouldn't have."
You damn right. You damn right. I would be renting to you. Hey, look, give us a follow, y'all. Hit the thumbs up. We're gonna get out of here. A few more questions we got. I gotta watch my. I don't watch TV, but this Harlem guy, Godfather of Harlem, is on. I didn't get a chance.
Let's take on two more questions if you want. Dan and Chris, do you increase the rents by percentage every renewal cycle to keep up with inflation? I increase the rents every year.
Yeah, especially now we're going up way high.
Every year. I don't
Oh,
care even if it's just $20, it's gonna go up.
we
Uh
missed one, Dan. Real Talk TV Media says my credit is great, but I don't have a job. Damn, why I got a job? Please help me. I have an LLC with 15K on a credit card and a house free and clear. Is there anything I can do? Dan?
It's gonna be well. You could go with a no income check type of loan, that DSCR, which in my time was called no income verification check. You're gonna where they're not gonna check about your income. They're only concerned with the cash flow of the property you're buying to make sure that that cash flow can sustain the mortgage and all its expenses. And they're gonna check your credit, and your credit's basically telling them if you're fiscally responsible.
Which don't mean crap in my opinion, but I got so many foreclosures that I just anyway. Somebody asked oh, Real Talk TV Media. So I would use that money for advertising if I were you.
There you go. All right,
Dan,
Chris. I know you got to go, and so do I. Still got work to do.
wait a minute, one more, Dan, one more.
Okay.
Clay Furious. Is there a difference between hard money and private money? If so, can you explain? Last one.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love this one.
that's a good one.
I love this one. Go ahead, Dan.
No, give it to him. That's all you, man.
The hard money is where we borrow money from a professional money lender based on the value of the asset. Private money is where we borrow money from ma and pa to go in and buy and sell real estate. So I highly recommend you to use hard money first because they're going to give you a second eyes opinion. But private money, they're counting on you to be the expert. And if you're new, I pray that you do not screw up. I don't care if you mess your money up. I don't care. Do not screw up ma and pa's money up. You will not
Aunt
be blessed.
Betty's money, Uncle Bill's money. You don't want to screw these people's lives up. A lot of time, this is their retirement money, the only money they have. Don't screw with people's money when you don't know what you're doing.
If you don't know what you're doing, y'all, get a mentor or a partner. Call Dan up. Call me up. Call his brother up. We'll work with you. We'll take a small percent. Say if you got hard money or you got a private money person, I've done it. I've sat down with them, like help them explain it, and don't feel bad. I don't know why people. Dan, why does everybody think they got to do this whole thing on their own? Why? Where did we get this from, man?
You don't. School, our educational system, think about it. Our educational system is teaching kids from day one to go work for somebody, right?
That's true.
Because
That's
they're
true.
teaching them to be employees.
That's true.
And employers want people to be well disciplined, like robot mentality.
That's
So
true.
our educational system teaches kids to do everything by yourself, not to collaborate, because they look at that like cheating,
Yeah.
right? Whereas when you get into the real world, entrepreneurs, we collaborate. We understand that we're not cheating. I understand that even though we may be in the same business, we don't have to compete with each other and we can still learn from each other, right?
No doubt.
Different personality traits, different reasoning that we do one thing versus the other because we're in the same business. We're very successful and we do it differently. And I've
Yeah.
learned from you a tremendous amount which I've now incorporated into my own business, right?
Yeah.
So school teaches people to do everything by themselves. They
Yeah.
have to do it by themselves.
That's a
Whereas
big
in the
downfall.
business world, what we realize if we want to grow, we have to collaborate. We have to create teams. We have to as team leaders, we have to run a cohesive team, which means we have to. It's about bringing in the right personality with the right skill sets, right, and then manage those personalities and different skill sets. So I blame it all on our school system.
Then last thing, and I'm gonna let you go. I almost do nothing by myself. I almost like before I make any move, I call somebody. I'm like, "What would you do?" Is that where you tell me about your process? I mean, I feel like
Absolutely, I do the same thing.
I do not. I
I'll
do,
go online. I'll look at different opinions. My brother and I will bounce things off back and forth from each other. And my brother and I, we are two total different personalities.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's why it works because there's times that I may have to hold him back because I'm very ultra conservative, and it stops us from making mistakes. But then he pushes me to making decisions that I would have not made because I'm too conservative, right?
Gotcha.
So, you gotta and make sure if you're gonna pick a partner that, it's not a partner that thinks like you. You want a partner that's totally opposite to you
I love it.
to get you out of your comfort zone.
Uh,
My brother gets me out of my comfort zone. He pushes me in a direction that, he calls me out when I'm like, You're holding us back, you're bullshit." So you want somebody who could call you out on your crap.
Gotcha. All right, round up, homies. Make sure you go to USA Land Ventures on YouTube. Follow that man right there. That's one of my mentors. And to hit a follow, subscribe on my channel too. Much love to you. Like the content, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Happy
I
Martin
gotta
Luther
tell you,
King Day.
Chris, we did pretty good tonight for the first time we came on here.
Yeah, 70 people. This is cool. First I've ever done this before.
There you go. Good
All
night,
right.
everyone.
Peace.
Take care.